What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved comedians sits down for what should have been a routine promotional interview, only to be ambushed in front of millions? What unfolded that morning wasn't just uncomfortable TV. It turned into one of the most scandalous showdowns in daytime history, a clash so fiery it left the entire studio rattled and the internet in meltdown. Before we dive into this explosive showdown, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me if Tom Cruise was out of line or if Joy Behar pushed too far. Because trust me, once you see how this glossy morning interview spiraled into a full-blown studio meltdown, you're going to have some strong opinions. Now, let's get back to the video. The atmosphere inside the studio that day was tense from the very start, though nobody quite realized just how explosive things were about to get. Adam Sandler entered with his trademark grin, casual charm, and that relaxed confidence audiences have cherished for decades. He was there to promote his latest dramatic role, a project earning him critical praise and proving he was more than just the king of goofy comedies. He settled into his chair, expecting the usual laughs, the safe banter, maybe a few light jabs. But across from him sat Joy Behar, and the look in her eyes made it clear this wasn't going to be a friendly chat. Joy wasted no time striking the first blow. With her tone sharp and loaded with judgment, she leaned forward and asked the question that sent shockwaves through the entire studio. "So, Adam, this sudden pivot to serious acting, is this your way of admitting your comedy career has finally run its course?" The audience froze, gasps rippling through the crowd as the cameras zoomed in. Sandler's famous smile wavered for just a second, but he steadied himself quickly. His answer was polite, measured, and controlled. He explained that it wasn't sudden at all. He had dabbled in drama for years and loved exploring different sides of storytelling. But Joy wasn't letting him off that easy. She cut in before he could even finish his thought, her words dripping with contempt. "Let's be honest here, Adam. Your last comedies were disasters. Critics destroyed them. The box office numbers were humiliating. Isn't this dramatic role just your desperate attempt to salvage what's left of your reputation?" The words landed like daggers, and the other hosts visibly squirmed in their seats. Whoopi Goldberg shot Joy a look that screamed enough, but Joy ignored it, determined to drive the knife deeper. Sandler's jaw tightened, but he fought to maintain composure. His response was careful but firm, reminding Joy that while critics may have their opinions, audiences mattered more. "My movies connect with people," he said, his voice steady, "and that's what really counts. Not everyone has to like everything I do, but millions of fans have laughed with me, and that means something." Joy immediately pounced on his words, her voice growing louder. "Connect with people? You mean connect with 12-year-old boys who think fart jokes are comedy genius? When was the last time you made something intelligent, Adam?" The crowd erupted in nervous murmurs, the energy in the room shifting from playful to deeply uncomfortable. This wasn't banter anymore. This was personal, and it was brutal. Adam took a breath, his eyes locked on Joy, his tone calm but with an edge beginning to cut through. "Joy, I'm not sure why you're being so hostile. I came here to talk about my new film, which deals with serious themes about family and loss. That's what I thought we'd be discussing." But Joy wasn't backing down, not for a second. She leaned forward, her words deliberate and sharp. "Oh, we can have that conversation, but let's make it an honest one. Your so-called dramatic performances, they're just your old shtick with fewer laughs. You're not fooling anyone into thinking you're some kind of serious actor." The tension was now suffocating. Off camera, Sandler's publicist looked ready to storm the stage, but Adam gave a subtle hand signal to stay seated. He wasn't going to be rescued, not this time. Instead, he leaned forward just slightly, his eyes narrowing as his voice dropped lower, harder and colder. "You know what, Joy? I've been in this business for over 30 years. I've worked with some of the best directors and actors in Hollywood. I've made movies that brought joy to millions. If you want to sit here and tear me down, that's your choice. But I won't let you sit here and disrespect my career or my fans." Joy let out a sharp, mocking laugh. "Personal reasons? Please. This isn't personal, Adam. This is about calling out mediocrity when I see it. You've coasted for decades on juvenile humor while serious artists struggle to be heard." That was the moment Sandler's demeanor began to change. His eyebrows shot up, his expression incredulous, his voice sharpened like steel. So comedy isn't art now? Making people laugh doesn't count? The movies I make employ hundreds of people. They give families something to laugh about together. They help people forget their struggles, even for just 2 hours. And if that's not valuable, then what is? The room fell into a heavy silence. You could feel the walls tighten around them as the tension rose higher and higher. Joy wasn't finished, though. She smirked, sitting taller in her chair, ready to go for another round. Please, Adam, spare us the noble speech. You churn out schlock and you know it. When was the last time you actually challenged yourself? Sandler's composure finally cracked just enough to reveal the fire burning underneath. His hands gripped the arms of his chair, his voice rising with intensity that made even the audience lean in. You want to talk about risks, Joy? Every time I get in front of a camera, I risk failure. Every time I put myself out there to be judged, that's a risk. But the biggest risk of all? Sitting here across from someone who pretends to be a professional interviewer while ambushing me with a personal vendetta. The studio was dead silent except for the hum of cameras rolling. And in that silence, the battle lines were drawn. Joy's smile turned cold, her eyes narrowing as if she had been waiting for that exact explosion. A vendetta? She asked slowly, her voice dripping with venom. Or maybe I'm just the one person on this set who isn't afraid to tell the truth, that Hollywood's golden boy never really grew up. The entire studio froze. The audience leaned forward, captivated, while the other hosts looked like statues caught in headlights. This wasn't a playful back and forth anymore. This was war, and Adam Sandler, the man known for goofy roles and endless laughter, had just been pushed to the brink. Adam leaned forward, his voice quieter now but trembling with fury that made the hair on the back of everyone's neck stand up. You know what, Joy? I've been respectful. I've been professional. But it's clear you came in here with an agenda, so let me ask you something. What exactly have you contributed to entertainment? What joy have you brought into people's lives? The audience gasped. Joy's face flushed red, her composure faltering for the first time. She fired back quickly, her voice laced with indignation. Excuse me. I've been a broadcaster for decades. I've won awards. I've held politicians accountable. I've broken stories that mattered. But Adam wasn't letting go. His voice rose, building momentum with every word. And yet here you are, using your platform to tear down someone who's done nothing but try to make people laugh. You want to talk about taking the easy road? How about sitting behind a desk every day, throwing stones at people who actually take creative risks, at people who actually put themselves on the line? The air was suffocating now. Even the production crew stood frozen, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let this showdown continue. Sunny Hostin looked like she might cry. Sarah Haynes stared wide-eyed, and Whoopi Goldberg raised her hand, desperate to intervene. Okay, both of you need to sit down and lower your voices. This is going too far, but neither Joy nor Adam was backing down. Joy slammed her palm on the desk, the sound echoing like a gunshot through the set. Too far? What's too far is pretending that mediocrity deserves praise just because it makes money. What's too far is giving platforms to people who contribute nothing meaningful to our culture. Adam's voice shook with fury and emotion as he shot back. Nothing meaningful? Let me tell you something meaningful, Joy. Last month I got a letter from a mother whose son has autism. She told me my movies are the only thing that make him laugh, the only thing that bring him joy in a world that can be cruel. That's meaningful. That letter alone is worth more than every snarky comment you've ever made on this show. The crowd gasped again. Some even applauded through the tension, but Joy's expression hardened, her sneer cutting across the studio lights. Oh, please, Adam. Spare us the heartwarming anecdotes. One touching letter doesn't excuse decades of lowbrow garbage. Adam's face turned red, his voice cracking with a mix of rage and hurt. Lowbrow garbage? You know what's garbage, Joy. Sitting here tearing down someone's career for no reason but your own bitterness. You want to talk about pollution? Look in the mirror. You're polluting this entire cultural landscape with cruelty and cynicism. The studio was now on edge. Every second felt like it could implode into total chaos. The audience sat stiff, not even daring to breathe too loudly. Joy leaned across the table, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper that the microphone still caught. "At least I'm not a grown man acting like a 12-year-old while cashing millions of dollars. At least I have dignity." That was it. That was the final straw. Adam's composure shattered like glass. He stood up abruptly, towering over the table, his face blazing red, his voice booming so loud it shook the cameras. "Dignity? You want to lecture me about dignity? You sit here every day gossiping, spreading negativity, and tearing down anyone who dares to succeed or smile. That's your dignity? That's your contribution to the world?" Joy tried to interrupt, but Adam was on a roll now, 30 years of pent-up frustration exploding in real time. He jabbed his finger toward her, his voice raw. "You don't get to talk anymore. You've had your say. Now it's my turn. You want to know what real courage looks like? It's getting up every day and choosing to spread joy instead of misery, choosing to make people laugh instead of making them feel small, choosing to build something instead of just throwing stones from the sidelines." The audience erupted into cheers and applause, some even shouting encouragement toward Adam, while Joy's jaw clenched tighter and tighter. The camera operators scrambled, zooming in on teary-eyed audience members who were visibly moved by Adam's passionate outburst. Adam's voice cracked again, his emotion pouring through the set like an open wound. "You think making people laugh is easy? You think it's simple to step out in front of millions and put your heart on the line for the world to judge? Every joke is a risk. Every movie is a chance to fail. And yet here you are, mocking the very thing that brings people joy." For the first time, Joy looked rattled. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She tried to regain ground, whispering, "Adam, I think you're overreacting here." But Adam barked back, bitter laughter in his voice. "Overreacting? Lady, you spent 20 minutes trying to destroy my career in front of a live audience, and now you call this overreacting?" He pulled his phone from his pocket, his hands shaking, but his voice growing stronger. "You want to hear from real people, Joy? Real voices, not bitter critics? Let me read you something." The studio went silent as Adam began reading emails and messages from fans. Here's one from Jennifer in Ohio. She said my movies helped her through her divorce, gave her something to laugh about when she thought she'd never smile again. Here's one from Michael in Texas. He said he watches my movies with his elderly father who has dementia, and they're the only thing that still make the old man laugh. The audience gasped, some openly crying, cameras catching tears rolling down cheeks. Joy shifted uncomfortably in her seat, her pale face betraying shock. Adam's voice rose higher, louder, more powerful with every word. Here's Sarah from Michigan, a single mom working 2 jobs. She says my movies are how she unwinds after 14-hour days. She says they remind her it's okay to be silly, that laughter isn't childish, it's necessary. By now, the crowd was clapping, some standing to their feet, and Joy looked cornered, struggling to even meet Adam's eyes. Adam pointed at her one final time, his voice booming. "You sit in your comfortable chair, making 6 figures to tell people why they shouldn't enjoy things, but out there in the real world, people are struggling. People need reasons to smile. And if my so-called stupid movies give them that, then I am proud of every single one of them." The studio roared. The line had been crossed, and Joy Behar realized she had underestimated her guest. Joy finally found her voice, though it cracked with desperation. "I'm not saying people shouldn't enjoy entertainment, Adam. I'm saying artists have a responsibility to create something with substance." Adam stepped closer to the desk, his eyes blazing. "Substance? You want substance? Substance is a kid with cancer who laughs for 2 hours at one of my movies. Substance is a family sharing joy in a theater instead of staring at their phones. Substance is giving people a break from their pain, not sitting in a chair tearing others down for sport." His words sliced through the air, leaving silence in their wake. The audience sat motionless, hanging on every syllable. Even the production crew seemed transfixed. Joy tried one last time to regain control, her tone suddenly softer. "Look, Adam, maybe we just got off on the wrong foot." But Adam shook his head, his voice sharp and final. "No, Joy. You came in here swinging. You wanted to humiliate me. But here's the truth. You failed. Because no matter what you say, I know what I've given people. I know that tonight, somewhere, someone will laugh because of me. And that's something you'll never take away. He turned to the camera, his voice breaking but powerful. To everyone watching, don't ever let anyone shame you for finding joy in simple things. Life is hard enough. Protect what makes you smile. Adam walked off the set, leaving stunned silence behind. The cameras lingered on Joy's face, pale, tight-lipped, and for the first time, shaken. But as the broadcast cut to commercial, a hot mic caught her muttering under her breath. This show isn't about joy, it's about truth. And the truth is, Hollywood protects its own, no matter how much garbage they feed us. The internet exploded instantly. Was Joy Behar exposing corruption in Hollywood? Or was this bitterness disguised as journalism? The debate raged, but one thing was certain. This showdown would go down as one of the most controversial live TV moments of the decade, and that's the story of one of the most explosive TV clashes we've ever seen. Comment your thoughts down below. Whose side are you on in this showdown? Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and stay tuned for more wild stories just like this.